This is NDTV. And you're watching NDTV Hindu.
The Chief Minister promised to crack the seats for sale scam, but his higher education minister says it's none of his business. Will Karana's promise ring hollow? Daring to loot from the heart of the city, a house in Alvarpet is burgled of jewellery and cash. The crime graph in the city steadily on the rise. Not ready to spare any, looks like Jayalalitha is getting her act together after Coimbatore, its now destination Trichy and Chennai. 33 schools make their way into the blacklist for excess fees. The culprit, the landmark Right to Education Act and the loopholes in it.
Right to Education Act 2009 has been drafted and passed with the sole intention of promoting privatization.
And the Sri Lankans are in a commanding position after India slumped deeper into trouble on the fourth day of the first test at Galle. Good evening, I am Evelyn Matthew and you're watching Headlines now on NDTV Hindu. And before we take a look at all these stories in detail, let's get you the national headlines as well. Flinging slippers, spots, just about anything that comes their way and still smiling about it, the hooligan politicians of Bihar continue their attacks in the assembly. An RTI activist shot dead at a High Court campus in Gujarat. His father accuses a BJP MP and his family of a deep conspiracy. 2.5 hours late is too late, the Home Minister says. The response after the Bengal train tragedy was at snail's pace.
There is a clear gap in the mobility of the disaster team.
And the women's hockey coach says the sexual harassment charges against him are a conspiracy. He quits his post after meeting with Hockey India officials. Now, he had the right to know, like you and I, the right to expose illegal activities in the country. Filed for several RTIs that has finally cost him his life. Gujarat's Green Crusader and prominent RTI activist Amit Jetwa was shot dead near the Gujarat High Court last evening. His family obviously is shocked with this, and his father Bhikhubai Jetwa has blamed a BJP MP Dinubai Solanki and his family of a conspiracy. He said that they were warned over the phone earlier and that this was a conspiracy. Jetwa had filed several complaints against alleged illegal mining in the Gir sanctuary areas in the Saurashtra region. The Joint Commissioner of Police said that Jetwa was shot by two unidentified assailants who drove off on a motorcycle. Jetwa's family believes that his campaign had picked up enough to make his opponents uncomfortable based on the information gathered through his RTI applications. He went to the Gujarat High Court 2 months ago with a public interest litigation as well, alleging large-scale illegal mining in and around Gir Sanctuary by Solanki and his family. So RTI activists, these are men and women like you and me who want to dig up the dirt in our system, but there has been a rather sad ending to this story at least. This evening, Mr. Chris Dev joins me on Headlines Now. He's an RTI activist in the city. Thanks very much for coming to our studios. Certainly not the first case of death of an RTI activist. There was once Mr. Satish Shetty as well, who has opened and exposed many land scams in Maharashtra as well. Does it really scare you, or do you feel insecure when you hear of such cases?
Yeah, it is very unfortunate that in India there is no protection to whistleblowers, and that to people who fight for public cause. So it is very necessary that the government and the information commissions come forward to protect the interests of people who are fighting for the sake of the citizens. They are people who are, working for the people and try to fight for their rights, and they should not be muzzled into silence. And we are seeing number of cases. This is the third case in the sequence in the last 6 months where people have been killed for exposing corruption.
This in a way also puts off many people who would want to know a lot of information about perhaps policies, but also about exposing politicians. But when they hear cases like this, they would just take a step back and not go at all, with an RTI application as well.
Absolutely. There are many people who want to do it, but they approach activists saying, can you file a petition on their behalf? So this speaks of the volume of openness that we have in society. If there is genuine openness, people will come forward to file petitions because it empowers or strengthens the hands of the government in fighting wrong acts. On the contrary, what is happening is that people are being singled out for filing petitions and they are being victimized.
Right.
It is high time the government intervenes and empowers the information commissions to support activists who are fighting for public cause.
So while you're seated here in our studios this evening, what would you like to tell the government in terms of protection? There are no protection to witnesses in court cases. What would you like to say?
I would like to say that the government must provide protection to all activists who fight for public cause right from the time they file the petition. They should say that they are fighting a public cause and there must be protection to them in all places, right from their residence when they go to the court to fight. And it is not only just the physical protection, also mental, moral, because there are many people who are being called and threatened. Okay, so that it brings about a moral and psychological fear in the people.
Right.
So this fear psychosis must be removed. The government should make it transparent that whatever actions they take should be in the public domain, and the information commissions should stand by these activists because they are strengthening the hands of democracy in India.
But there's also the case of whether there would be corruption in maybe perhaps the Information Commission or in the government itself. How would you handle then in those cases?
Yes, this is precisely where the openness and transparency will play a big role, where the government and the Information Commission can make known through a public site who are the activists they are protecting, so that even those who are interested in identifying them for further action will be desisted from doing such a thing, because they know that any action adverse on these people will be seen very seriously by the courts and by the Information Commission.
Are you saying there should be an external body apart from the government itself, perhaps like a judiciary, that overlooks at things like these?
Absolutely. There must be a quasi-judicial forum which is comprising of the Information Commission and the judiciary, where they can jointly sit and then see over the cases of people who are fighting for justice and public cause.
All right. But in simple terms, RTI activists are just facilitators for the community to get information, basic information. But have you received threats ever while in the course of your work, of your social work?
I have never received any threat because I didn't get into any street activism. What we do is I act as facilitator between the government and the citizens. We conduct RTI programs for government officials. We also guide them how to correctly handle RTI petitions, because there is always a doubt in the minds of the citizens as well as in the minds of the government that RTI petitioners are against them. In fact, they are not against any officials. They are trying to correct the system, the aberrations in the system, through the proper judicial methods. So this is where the RTI activists can act as a facilitator between the government and the citizens.
All right. Very finally, before we wrap this discussion, it's a very unfortunate case in the case of Amit Jetwa. Is there any kind of a compensation that can be given to his family? Is there an access for that at all?
As of now, I don't think there is a provision, but certainly the Information Commission should come forward and provide all financial support to the family of such activists who have so far been killed, for fighting justice.
Do you think that should be a step taken?
Yes, it
or
should
at
be.
least his family?
The government should immediately intervene and institute laws to protect whistleblowers and provide funds to the family to survive.
All right, I'll have to wrap it at that, but thanks very much indeed, Mr.
Welcome.
Chris Dev, for joining us this evening for this discussion.
Thank you. Welcome.
Now, the media may expose scams, people may get outraged, but our system just does not shy away from passing the buck. And this time, looks like the Higher Education Minister of Tamil Nadu, Ponmudi, is proving this. Just 3 days after the Chief Minister, Karunanidhi, promised that a committee will look into the activities of touts who are fleecing innocent students after NDTV Hindu reported the same, things don't seem to be too bright.
NDTV Hindu's shocking expose. Touts selling off seats in prime engineering colleges for as much as 18 lakh rupees. All caught on NDTV Hindu's camera. The report was aired on the 18th of July.
18 lakhs application.
18 lakhs. Swana University.
Campus, inside campus.
A day later, the Chief Minister reacted to the report. Karunanidhi gave an assurance that a committee would be formed to take action against these touts.
அதற்கான ஒரு கமிட்டி போடப்பட்டிருக்கிறது. அந்த கமிட்டி அதை பற்றி விசாரித்து நடவடிக்கை எடுக்கும்.
But today, the man in charge of the Higher Education Ministry has passed the buck. The irony, the minister himself seems to indicate that action against touts may end up being caught in red tapeism.
A lot of people are trying to get admission into college using these private touts. Sir, are you all taking any action against those colleges mentioned, sir?
You should ask the AICT, not us.
The chairperson of AICTE's Southern Region and the Vice Chancellor of Anna University, Mannar Jawahar, says only a complaint from a student can initiate any action. But legal experts say there is a lot the state government can do.
State will have to take a little step forward and take on the responsibility and ensure that such colleges do not exist at all. You see, the state also has powers to enact laws and take over these universities or colleges itself, which are erring. So it's not as if the state is powerless. State has the power, but I don't think they have the mind to do it or the willpower to do it.
This past week has seen the shameless commodification of education in Tamil Nadu. At stake is the credibility of this man to live up to his word and ensure that those who trap unsuspecting students are put behind bars. Bureau Report, NDTV Hindu.
Well, the DGP has got a copy of the report and has ordered a preliminary investigation in this case. But little can the department do without support from the minister in charge of higher education. Now, for more details and to give us a perspective into the story, our reporter Nithila now joins us live from our newsrooms. Nithila, this recent reaction to that question by the reporter of NDTV Hindu just gets that. It's the AICTE's job. Do you think there's been a reasonable change in the stance by the Higher Education Minister?
Most definitely there has been a change in stance, a change in attitude by the state government, because just 3 days ago the Chief Minister assured students and parents that a committee has been formed, a probe into this matter will take place. Now 3 days later the Higher Education Minister comes forward and says that the All India Council for Technical Education, a central body, should be conducting the probe into the issue, and that the state government is powerless regarding this issue. Also, if you can remember, just months ago when 44 universities across India were delisted, 16 here in Tamil Nadu, it was this very same Higher Education Minister Ponmudi who said that a problem arises because education is in the concurrent list and not under the state list. He had in fact strongly demanded that education be brought under the state list so that action can be taken against defaulters, against people who don't follow laws, be it in deemed universities or in colleges like Anna University. But now he is clearly passing the buck to the centre, saying that the centre is responsible in this case. So definitely a change in stance as far as the Higher Education Minister is concerned.
All right, thanks very much indeed, Nithila, for joining us with that. And like you truly said, in fact, it is a kind of a commodification of education itself. Now on to some political gear up by the opposition. The General Secretary of the AIDMK, Jayalalitha, today said she would lead a demonstration rally against the DMK at Trichy on the 24th of August. The rally would highlight the plight of Delta farmers among other issues such as fishermen's livelihood and price rise. But the lady says she will not stop with just that. Jayalalitha is also scheduled to address the party cadres in Chennai on the 22nd of August. All this after Jayalalitha's public rally against the DMK regime in Coimbatore on the 13th of July that witnessed a massive turnout. Now, the police have detained 6 people, including a driver who was on the run, for questioning in connection with the massive burglary case that shook Alwarpet residents yesterday. Gold and diamond jewellery worth 250 sovereigns and 6 lakh rupees in cash were burgled from the house of a popular transport firm owner. But our crime reporter Salim has got his hands on some statistics that say that this is just another instance of the increasing burglaries in the state.
The man who runs the transport firm Bharati Roadways was not in when a group of robbers raided his home in Alwarpet. They fled with 250 sovereigns of high-value diamond-studded jewellery and about 6 lakh rupees. Sniffer dogs and forensic detectives were quickly at the scene.
They've broken the locks. I feel a known suspect only could have done it.
Though police say they have detained 6 suspects already for questioning, this latest incident clearly shows Tamil Nadu's crime graph is rapidly climbing. The state recorded 3,300 burglary cases in the year 2006. It climbed to 3,317 in 2007. It did not stop there. In 2008, it went further up to 3,849. The state's crime graph hit an alarming level in 2009 with over 4,000 cases of thefts. Police are telling residents in upmarket areas to take preventive measures such as electronic surveillance of their homes, offices and properties, which act as a deterrent.
That will be good for the security of the house, as well as it will be useful for the investigation also. And once it is erected, the criminals also will wean away from the area.
Police also say regular patrolling by their personnel should be backed by private guards, especially during the nights. In Chennai, Salim for NDTV Hindu.
Now, death could be a terrible thing, but there are rights attached to such a happening. The deceased have their rights too, and the State Consumer Commission held up those rights. In a recent judgment, the Commission ordered the Postal Life Insurance Department to pay 1 lakh rupees to the family of a bus driver who died in an accident. Pir Mohammed brings us this special report.
One month after he started paying for his life insurance policy through salary deductions by his employer, Rajan Bosco, a bus driver, died in an accident. When his legal heirs wanted the insurance money after his death, the Postal Life Insurance Department refused to give it, saying the scheme was yet to come into effect. Bosco's family approached the Consumer Court for justice.
He took the policy and a month later, after his premium was deducted from the salary, he had died in a road traffic accident. Despite this death, the second month's premium also was deducted and it was intimated accordingly to the authorities, and the authorities had intimated the LIC as per policy conditions, but policy came into effect a bit later, which deficiency made him approach the court.
The district court ordered the Postal Life Insurance Department to pay the affected family 1 lakh rupees, but the department went on an appeal to the State Commission. The State Commission upheld the district court's verdict, asking the department to pay the complainants promptly.
Here is the postal authorities admit the fact that the complainant died a month after taking the policy and that the premium was deducted, which was intimated to them. Nothing was controverted to the other side, or this was neither denied. That being the case, the forum's order was upheld by the State Commission.
The State Commission's order against the Postal Life Insurance Department is a definite warning to the insurance firms, both public and private, that try to dodge the ordinary consumers. In Chennai with reporter P. Mohammed, Lokpriya, NDTV Hindu.
Well, those rights could be some ray of hope when all is lost. Coming up on Headlines Now, the MLAs of Bihar release their full arsenal, shoes, tables and even pots. And Hockey India is hit by an ugly sex scandal just before their very crucial tour. That's coming up in just a moment.